Hello and welcome to the Academic Integrity tutorial. After completing this short tutorial, you will have confidence knowing why academic integrity is critical to your college experience, how to be more skillful in accessing resources that help you avoid plagiarism and other honor code violations, and finally, what to do if you find yourself in the position you never thought you would, feeling desperate at 2 a.m. and tempted to cheat.
Academic integrity is very important to the Carolina community. As a community of scholars, we take pride in earning our degrees the right way. We hope this tutorial will help you understand why academic integrity is important to our community and also help you navigate your obligations as a student.
The first question you may ask is why academic integrity is important to our community. At Carolina, we care about your integrity as a student. Your integrity is essential to establishing a relationship of trust between you and your professor, and this in turn creates the best learning environment. Personal and academic integrity are so important that they are listed in the Carolinian Creed, the value statement for the entire university.
Also, think about your own academic reputation. You don't want to be known as the student who cheats his or her way through school.
We also care about fairness here at Carolina. We want all students to have a level playing field. It is not fair for someone to achieve good grades by cheating on a test or assignments, while those who are honest may struggle to make good grades.
Finally, consider that you are here to prepare yourself to perform in your field of study. If you cheat your way through your classes, you may be missing out on vital information and training for your career. You're really only cheating yourself. Fellow Carolinians agree. Jess says, academic integrity is about more than just cheating. It is about character and representing yourself and your institution well in all of the work that you do.
Christian says, future jobs will care more about your character and integrity than your GPA. Alicia says, lots of classes are curved. Not only are you cheating yourself, but you're also hurting those students who worked hard for the curve. Now that we know why academic integrity is important, let's talk about the university policies regarding academic integrity.
The University of South Carolina has adopted an honor code. This code prohibits any dishonesty, fraud, or deceit in connection with your academic work. Although all forms of academic dishonesty are prohibited under the honor code, the policy addresses 7 types of academic dishonesty, including plagiarism, unauthorized assistance, unauthorized materials, unauthorized access to tests, interference, bribery, and lying. Our tutorial will go over these policies in detail. Let's start with plagiarism.
More plagiarism cases are reported to the Office of Academic Integrity than all other honor code policies combined. What is plagiarism, you may ask? The University of South Carolina defines plagiarism as the use of another person's work or ideas without proper acknowledgement of the source. We prohibit plagiarism because we believe in giving credit where credit is due.
Next, you may be thinking about how you can avoid plagiarism. First, you want to identify the proper citation style for your assignment. The most common citation styles used at the University of South Carolina are the Chicago Manual of Style, the Modern Language Association style, and the American Psychological Association style. Some academic disciplines commonly use one particular style. For example, the Modern Language Association, or MLA style, is commonly used in the humanities. If you are unsure about what citation style to use, seek guidance from your professor.
After considering what your citation style should be, next consider how you will properly credit your sources. Although the citation styles vary in general, you will need to take the following steps to properly acknowledge your sources. First, you need to recognize when you need to cite material. Second, you need to properly cite any material taken directly or verbatim from another source. Third, you need to know how to properly paraphrase any ideas that you get from your source. Next, you need to understand how to correctly cite your sources in text or through the use of footnotes and endnotes. And finally, how to list your sources on a reference, works cited, or bibliography page.
Recognizing when you need to cite materials can be challenging. In general, you do not need to cite material in 2 circumstances. When the idea or thought is entirely your own and it is expressed in your own words, or when you use what is considered to be common knowledge. You may wonder what is considered common knowledge. Common knowledge is generally information that the average reader will likely know. In defining common knowledge, don't assume that the average reader has the same level of expertise as you in the subject for the assignment. If you are unsure about whether something constitutes common knowledge, ask your professor or provide the citations anyways.
Next, let's consider how to properly cite material that you take verbatim or directly from another source. To distinguish your words from the words you are directly taking from another source, use quotation marks and insert an in-text citation according to the writing style you are using. Take a look at the example of the correct use of a direct quote.
Oftentimes, you will find yourself wanting to use someone else's work or ideas. You can do so as long as you still give credit back to the source. When paraphrasing, you do not need to use quotation marks. Rather, you will need to use a proper in-text citation. Review the following example of how to properly paraphrase another person's work or ideas. As we discussed earlier, anytime you use another person's work or ideas, you must use in-text citations. The format of your in-text citation will depend on the writing style you are using. Be sure to take note of the differences between common writing styles. In addition to in-text citations, you must include a source listing at the end of your work. Again, the format of your source listing will depend on the writing style you are using. To help you gain a better understanding of source listing, University Libraries has prepared a guide to help you understand how to do this.
Let's discuss the most common plagiarism issues at USC. They include copying and pasting someone else's work without using citation or the proper citation style, using another student's work without attribution, buying a paper online and submitting it, or slightly modifying that paper and submitting it, poor paraphrasing, lack of citation, and failing to cite properly.
These common plagiarism issues are often detected through a software program called SafeAssign. Your professors use SafeAssign to scan for matches against another student's papers, internet sources, a large database of previous submitted papers, and other online databases. Now that you have a better understanding of plagiarism, let's discuss the other forms of academic dishonesty included in the Honor Code. The unauthorized assistant policy prohibits giving or receiving unauthorized assistance or attempting to give or receive such assistance in connection with the performance of any academic work. Most students violate this policy on homework assignments, during tests, or when collaborating on an assignment. On homework assignments, students often violate this policy by sharing homework when it is not permitted. Avoid sharing your homework or lab answers with other students because you never know when a student will copy your work and submit it as his or her own. Of course, the students receiving the assistant also violates this policy. Concerning test cheating, students will violate this policy by looking off someone else's exam for the answers or by assisting another student in providing the answers. If you tend to look around while you are thinking about the answers, here's a tip. Ask to be seated in a location during the exam where you cannot see other students' papers if you look around, such as a location near a wall or in the front row. Finally, students violate this rule by collaborating when it is not permitted or through poor collaboration. Students who collaborate share an equal or roughly equal division of labor and effort. If a student merely copies another student's work or writes down answers as directed by another student, then that student may have received unauthorized assistance.
Next, let's consider unauthorized materials. The policy prohibits unauthorized use of materials or information of any type, or the unauthorized use of any electronic or mechanical device in connection with the completion of any academic work. Students violate this rule in online classes when using materials not permitted for an online exam. Remember, just because the test is online doesn't mean you can use whatever materials you would like. Review the syllabus and seek guidance from your professor about what materials can be used for the exam and strictly follow that guidance. A word on cell phone use during the exam. Using your cell phone during the exam is almost always going to be considered a violation. The presumption will be that you are using it for dishonest purposes, so leave it in your book bag or at home. Finally, and this is obvious, but unauthorized notes will be a violation of this policy. Examples include taping equations to your calculator cover and writing definitions on your legs. Again, read your syllabus and find out what you can have in the testing room and strictly follow that guidance.
Moving on, let's talk about unauthorized access to a test before it is administered. Getting the publisher's copy of the test or getting a copy of the test from a friend or other source is a serious violation of the Honor Code. Your professors work hard to ensure a fair evaluation process of your work. By having the answers in advance, you receive an unfair advantage over the other students in your class.
Next, let's look at the policies of bribery and interference. The policy of bribery is fairly straightforward. Exchanging or offering to exchange money or other things such as football tickets to gain an academic advantage will be considered bribery. It will not be a defense to this charge that you were just joking. Interference is a policy that is fairly straightforward too. It includes any act that is intended to interfere with your professor's ability to assess your competency or performance in an academic setting.
Finally, let's talk about lying. When you lie about your work or misrepresent the truth, you lose your professor's trust and you risk your own credibility. This includes fabricating documents and altering documents, telling little white lies, and signing your friends in for class or asking a friend to sign you in for class.
Oftentimes, violations of the Honor Code are a result of poor time management. Consider these 7 time management tips as you prepare for your next paper or exam. I find the following 3 tips to be most helpful. Try to combine activities. Bring your psychology notes to study while you are working on laundry. Self-care. Make sure you have time to eat and sleep properly. Use distributed learning and practice. Study in short time blocks with short breaks between.
Academic dishonesty carries with it many repercussions, including loss of trust and respect with your professor and potential failure of your course. Additionally, if suspended, you could face a large financial impact, not to mention the various disciplinary penalties imposed if found responsible for a violation. It is just not worth it.
We are here to help. Know your resources and utilize them. Always keep in mind the Carolinian Creed and practice personal and academic integrity.